Привет.
Привет, привет, малышка.
Привет.
И Паленка, привет тоже. Так, сейчас я немножко настрою. Что-то звук как-то громко слишком. Я даже себя не слышу. Так, вроде нормально. Так, ну что ж, начнем. История. Давай историю, наверное. Обычно. Я не знаю, что тут ожидать.
Don't I know you, sir?
Don't believe so. I haven't been here in many years. Name's Silas Greaves.
Silas Greaves? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
Ah, well, what are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through. Got a little business to take care of.
Well, sir, it would be an honor if you would allow me to buy you a beer.
Hell, son, it would be my honor to drink it.
I'm Molly. Howdy.
I'm Dwight. That's Jack and Steve. Ben's behind the bar. Oh, I bet you got some great stories.
A couple.
Any of them true?
Я
Jack,
читать не
be
буду,
nice.
наверное.
A few.
What about your shootout with Henry Plummer's gang in Bannock, Montana? Is that where you started as a bounty hunter? That's what it says in this here dime novel.
Don't believe everything you read in them dime novels, boy. First man I hunted was back when I was riding with Billy the Kid.
You knew Billy the Kid?
Damn right. That scrawny son of a bitch had no fear. Wouldn't back down for nobody.
I heard he collected the 10 stars off any crooked lawman who crossed him.
It was a war, boy. The Lincoln County War. And Billy promised his regulators would take the life of every bastard who helped bushwhack John Tunstall.
Kid had a big chip on his shoulder and a hair-trigger temper. Made him dangerous as hell.
Все, касцена прошла.
Привет.
Привет, привет. Офигеть, 1500 FPS.
It was about 30 years ago.
Redemption.
Billy was hiding
Нет,
out in an
это-
abandoned farm near
Call
Stinking
of-
Springs.
Чуаррес.
I threw in with the kid because the man I had sworn vengeance on was riding with Billy's enemies. But before I tell you why I want that sumbitch dead, let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this funny feeling.
Funny, haha.
No, Steve. The other kind of funny.
Я что-нибудь могу сделать? Нет? Просто идти? У меня графончик прикольный. Рисованный такой. Красивый. Хоть игрушка 2013 года. Нажмите еще, чтобы открыть задание. Ну, я понял. Здесь убежишь.
I knew those two morons would never let me through. I had no choice.
Мне их сразу убивать или стоит поговорить? А, не, они красные.
Shoot that sumbitch!
Was it Pat Garrett's posse?
Oh, yeah. I heard the shots and I knew I had to move fast. Garrett and his army of deputies had surrounded the entire homestead.
Стрельба. Погони. Лошадки. Зашибись.
Так, сейчас что-то как-то это... Управление. Мышку немножко уменьшить.
I decided to help Billy and the boys out a bit. So that's just what I did.
Эй, стреляет.
As the governor of New Mexico was paying for the kids' apprehension, Garrett was able to hire every gun hand in Lincoln County.
Игра в стиле игровой картины.
Ну, типа да. Да ё-моё. Еще что ли один?
I knew that going through that front door meant putting my butt in the shooting gallery, so I decided to get sneaky.
Это что такое? Карты. Нажмите Г, чтобы выйти в меню. Очко навыка тик, стрелок, отчаянный герой за место стволами. Да. Что? А, ну типа все. О. Эй. Я вижу, подождите меня.
Garrett's men were running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
Send these some bitches running.
Ай, перезарядка. Стрелок из меня никудышный вообще.
You ain't going nowhere.
Still, one of them reached the water tower.
Oh.
Not a bad idea. It would be a turkey shoot from up there.
Ай, перезарядка.
Читер.
Да какой читер? Да, ну и в стрелялки не играл. ловчиться пистолетом.
Luckily, these shooters Garrett hired weren't the sharpest tools in the shed. A lot of them were saddle tramps or sod busters or drunken drifters looking to make a few bucks.
Атмосфера не правда?
Ну да, прикольно. Кто меня сбоку стрелял? Потрошки.
Then, I heard a friendly voice yelling at me from the window. Back door! We'll cover you!
Try aiming, you idiot.
Где кто?
Truth be told, things weren't much better behind the house.
Watch your play.
О,
I cut their numbers in half. But that just made the ones that were left twice as mad.
по-моему, из двух пистолетов только трачу много патронов.
They made up for their lack of skill with a seemingly endless supply of ammo. It was a bit of a slog, but I finally fought my way around the back of the house.
Так, концентрация какая-то.
And like that, I was inside, none the worse for wear.
А, это свой.
I passed Dirty Dave,
Deader than a rat in a trap.
and upstairs I found Billy and Charlie Baldry.
Великий.
Billy looked at me and said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, we were surrounded by dozens of deputized shooters who wanted to do us harm. I'm telling you, Garrett's men were dropping like flies, but they just kept on coming.
Where the hell did Garrett get you? He's missing all the action.
That's when Charlie got hit. "They're catching us in a crossfire," shouted Billy. "Get to the other side."
Оу. Блин, перезарядка.
I don't know how many of those cocksuckers I personally put down, but it was pretty clear, even to Billy, that maybe discretion was the better part of valor.
What's that mean?
It means that it was time to cut and run. "They got a Gatling," Billy shouted. "Get the horses and bring them around back. I'll draw their attention." They directed that order at me, and I thought, why the hell do I have to do it? But I went anyway. Dumbass that I was back then.
Там кто-то с этого, с минигана полез. Должен застанет. Как мне убить-то? Приведите лошадей из конюшни.
Many would have fled in my place.
Где-то еще два.
But I had that false sense of invincibility that many young men have. Like Jack here.
What are you saying, old man?
Jack, he's just joshing.
Yeah, he better be.
Mr. Greaves, please continue.
Please, call me Silas, ma'am. Now, where was I?
You were heading for the barn.
You a new one.
Блин, вот когда по-русски пишут, на какую кнопку нажать, это прям ужас. Мне надо вспомнить, где эта русская буква.
Making my way past the vessel of fallen foes. There's some bits of
Sounds like Garrett hired a whole regiment of hired guns.
Yeah, and just when I thought I was done with them, more of these hapless bastards would pop up.
Нажмите Г. Опять Г. Что это за буква? У. О, меткий стрелок на больших расстояниях. Плюс 2 к магазину. Орлиный глаз. О, вот это хочу. Я, по-моему, опять не туда пошел. А, не оттуда вроде.
Finally, I had the stables within my reach. And that's when I met Sheriff Pat Garrett.
I read that you went toe-to-toe with him, sir. That backstabbing bastard with that tacked-on tin star.
Ладно, это сцена.
You challenged him to a showdown.
You read that in a dime novel?
It said he showed no fear as he took your measure with eyes like a rattlesnake.
Типа дуэли. Так, чтобы следить за противником. Блин. Угу. Я понял.
And that you killed him in a fair fight.
Is that what that Penny Dreadful said? No, boy. That ain't what I meant when I said I met Pat Garrett. So let me start again. I finally reached those damn stables.
Гаши хорош.
And stepped inside, and bam! Last thing I heard was Garrett's voice. That's not Billy.
And go on. How did it end?
And, boy, that was just the beginning.
63% только точность. Окей.
So what happened? Did Garrett arrest you?
Yeah, after I came to, the bastard had clocked me with his Colt.
Билли Кит.
And the kid surrendered?
When he realized there was no getting out of there alive.
So they locked you up in Lincoln?
Indeed they did. Sentenced me to hang right along with the kid. It's important to know that I was only riding with Billy so I could find the bastard I was after.
Так, я в тюряшке.
He was with John Kinney's gang, and they were sworn enemies of Billy's regulators.
Why were you after him?
I owed that son of a bitch a bullet for what he had done to me and mine. Instead, all I got for myself was a goddamn death sentence. Luckily, it was right around then that I heard Billy make his move. He shot Jim Bell and a few other guards as he made his getaway. Later, they wrote that some lady friend planted a pistol for him in the privy. What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape, too. My first order of business was finding a firearm.
Так. Мне нужны пистолеты. О,
Luckily, I
винтовка.
located Deputy Bob Ollinger's mean-ass shotgun.
Трабашек. Прикольно так показывает.
I saw Billy through the window, and he yelled that I should take to the rooftops to make my escape. So I did.
Anybody see Billy? Son of a bitch shot Jim Bell!
Hell yeah. That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer.
Они мне в голову попали. Так. Ай. Да что такое?
Don't let him get away!
The kids escaped, raised a huge ruckus. Hell yeah. That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet. You hardly had to aim the damn.
Куда я стрельнул?
Guards were everywhere looking for him.
Can't let the kid get away! Anybody see him?
I had to jump from roof to roof like a damn alley cat. I followed the planks where I could, but... Oh! Some of that wood was slippery as hell. The whole town was up in arms.
Что-то было.
Suddenly, I was a fugitive.
How the hell did the kid escape?
Наверное, сюда.
So that bastard you were after, what did he do?
He did me and my family a grievous harm. But I knew if I was ever gonna find him, I would need to get my ever-loving ass out of there.
Куда бежать?
I tried to be stealthy and sneak my way past.
Я ж только оттуда выбрался. Нафига мне обратно?
You! But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. A Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
Есть пистолет, отлично.
You hooligans can go to hell.
По коленкам.
Somewhere.
See, me and the kid shared a certain similarity in build and coloring. I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass
Да
shot.
что это?
Give it up! Show yourself, coward!
They're shooting in the
I
street.
don't get paid enough for this!
Так.
I'm here! Get your head stowed!
There's children here.
We're gonna be in deep shit when Pat gets
So
back.
much lead was whizzing by my head, it was like everyone in Lincoln wanted to put me in the ground. I knew I needed to find a horse. Though I never did have a great fondness for those four-legged grass eaters. Smelly, sweaty, ungrateful beasts. We prize them too high, if you ask me.
You're threatening the lives of innocent people.
Damn him!
Воу-воу-воу. Тихо.
Come on in!
Ништяк какой-то. Что мне с этой-то делать? А, вот сюда, наверное.
That sounds going to hell in a handbag!
But where was the kid while you were busy getting shot at?
Gone. And that's when it occurred to me why Billy set me free. So I could be a hapless decoy and draw attention while he snuck out of town.
Воу-воу-воу-воу.
I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
Because everybody in Lincoln would be dead?
No,
Ой,
they all thought I was Billy. And all that blame would fall on him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean-ass shotgun. Anyway, it was me or them, and the only way forward led me straight to perdition. But the cards were dealt, and I had no choice but to play them.
We can take him!
где еще?
Don't let him get away!
Вижу. Ай, перезарядка.
We're gonna be in deep shit when Pat gets back! Kill him!
Много тебе минус.
Surrender yourself!
Ах ты ж.
God damn you! Give it up! Get the women off the street! On your tail! There's a way.
Ой-ой-ой. Тихо, тихо. Вы откуда? Ага, вижу.
We can take him.
Лази. Зарядилась концентрация. Воу-воу-воу. Тихо-тихо. Вы откуда?
We're gonna be in deep shit with that back. Stop him!
Да ё-моё, что я так косой?
We can take him! I don't get paid enough for this. Let's do this.
А чё, мне
Don't let him get
дробашек кончился? Да. Попал.
We're gonna be in deep shit.
Ты откуда вылез? Вот как они сливаются-то с окружающей средой. Их прям вообще не вижу. Да, шутеры это не мое.
You won't get away.
Новый уровень.
You're dead.
Ой. Где-то еще бегает.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of town.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Well, sure he did. Dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. Hello, Bob, I said. I think you better let me go. And he says, I don't think so, boy. Not with my shotgun. So we stood there in the middle of the street, eyeball to eyeball. He intended to kill me, and I knew I had no choice but to defend myself.
Понятно. Ладно, я понял. Ща. Давай, я же выхватил уже пистолет. У меня даже скорострельность на 30% была.
I killed him in a fair fight. Everybody saw I had no damn choice. Well, Lincoln got a mite depopulated that day. Pat Garrett gunned down Billy 3 months later, so his escape was all for naught.
Жесть, конечно.
So where'd you go after Lincoln?
Mexico. Until I realized nobody was looking for me. I ended up taking a job at the Rurales.
The Mexican Rurales?
I was hired to help them track down the cowboys.
The most vicious outlaw gang in Cochise County? Curly Bill Brocious? Johnny Ringo?
Led by old man Clanton himself.
They must have paid you a pretty penny to take them hombres on.
Not really. But truth be told, I had my own reasons for going after those boys.
Потненько, немножко.
So was the bastard you were after now riding with the cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Еще одна очечечка. Зверолов. Винтовки вы повышаете вместимость своего патронташа на 36 патронов. В принципе, неплохо. Так, а в Сверлович что мне дает? Защита в ближнем бою. Не знаю, надо это будет или нет. Ну или на 75 патронов. Наверное, для винтовки лучше взять. Давай сначала потрошки.
Oh. But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo. And yes, he was working for old man Clanton.
Where's he going?
I came upon them robbing a stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being they were such murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red scarves, so I knew they worked for the old man.
Over there!
I did my best to help those poor passengers.
Show yourself, coward!
Где ты?
Moments later, the attackers were dead. And I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing.
Есть потрошки? Нету.
None. It was then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did.
Wait.
They would appear in great numbers from above and rain down lead on their hapless enemies' heads, making use of the high ground, whatever else they had. Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to them.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches? What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle, and I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force. See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge.
Что-то я расслабился.
See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks. I didn't see Ringo, but I knew he was with the cowboys. He and Roscoe Bob had done me a dreadful wrong, and I was determined to have my revenge. But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to fight my way past these other assholes first. Unfortunately, I was running out of ammo. Another perfect example of my relative inexperience as a hunter of men. I immediately knew that a tactical retreat was called for, as my vengeful fury was much less impressive without the bullets to back it up.
Oh, shit.
Finally, they managed to corner me. Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim.
Да, офигеть, сколько вас тут.
Luckily, serendipity was on my side as I suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament.
У меня патроны кончились.
I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after me. Bullets were whizzing by my ears, but I wasn't about to roll over and die. I just kept running like there was no tomorrow.
Куда бежать? Куда бежать?
Because there wouldn't be if Clanton and his men caught up with me. As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought, oh, what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this.
Ой, бегут за мной.
No one will ever find you here.
I just kept running, not knowing where the hell I was going.
Патроны!
And that's when something miraculous happened.
Это что
Like
такое?
manna from heaven. I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition. Bat Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good, and he would know. And imagine my surprise when I found a fistful of dynamite to go along with that ammo. That stroke of good fortune evened the odds and bolstered my confidence. It was time to turn the tables. Time for the prey to become the predator. Time for the hunted to become the hunter. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it. They were right where you wanted them.
That's right, Jack. I was done running. The old man's boys were not expecting that. No, sir.
Не люблю динамит.
I came at them like a wildcat. My fury knew no bounds.
No one will ever fight you here!
Блин, патронов мало на винтовку.
Where's he going? Now you're really pissing me off! Shoot that running son of a bitch!
Не попал.
I got you now!
Воу-воу-воу, тихо-тихо, ребята, вы чё? Подождите. Ой, я шапочку и нашел. Как туда забраться? Я хочу шапочку. Сбить нельзя. Ну блин, я так не играю. Дайте шапочку-то.
It was finally time for that old man to pay for his sins.
Блин, это, наверное, когда я туда бежал, надо было. Под мостом вот этим.
I yelled out at the top of my lungs, "Clanton, I'm coming for you!" A little stealth might have made more sense, to be perfectly honest.
Алло.
Because that old fool had a Gatling gun and enough bullets to last him till kingdom come. But I knew I could not let that deter me. Not if I was to find and kill Ringo.
Вот шиш.
I needed to get that old man off that gun.
Старый чудак.
Most everyone thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me.
Ой, динамит. Офигеть.
Get ready to die!
Whoa.
Shoot him in the head! Up there, you yellow belly! Sucker! Wait! Goddamn boat! Don't let that son of a bitch get away with that! Would you just die?
Смотрится как Вестерн действительно.
You one stupid zombie!
Собака ты старая.
Stop your hiding!
Ну-ка, убери свою пуколку. Ладно, давай динамит. Давай, я сейчас покажу. Я его забуговал.
Apparently, one of the cowboys made it out of there alive and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps, and that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
О, 75%. Неплохо.
A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear.
So, what exactly did Johnny Ringo do to piss you off?
Well, him and that other bastard.
Roscoe Bob Bryant?
Yep. They both deserve to die, and I promise I'll tell you why. But first, I need to tell you about the Cowboys' new boss, Curly Bill Brocious.
Herb's coming! Get ready, boys. And would somebody kill him?
Curly Bill took charge of the Cowboys upon the old man's demise. And after that gunfight at the OK Corral, the Clantons wanted revenge. So they murdered Morgan Earp and grievously wounded his older brother, Virgil. Wyatt and Doc went on what became known as the Vendetta Ride, hunting those outlaws down. So when I showed up, that's who they thought I was.
Перебежал, что ли, уже? Так, 16 патронов на винтовку, это мало. 3, 4. Более-менее. Все. Так, я вижу мерцающую веревку. Опс.
There were killers around every corner, all wearing red bandanas. That's how the cowboys identified each other, and I was beginning to wish I had one myself. But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed, and that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Whoa.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday might have taken him.
That Lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
Обрезанный дробаш. Шестизарядник поменять. Но я даже не знаю. Не, винтовку на дробовик точно не буду менять. Ну давай этот возьмем. Хотя, блин, шестизарядник мне все-таки как-то по душе, не люблю дробовики. Чего? В смысле? Чего я погиб? А эту я могу сбить? Нет, не могу. Как я там погиб-то вообще? Я на бревно наступил.
But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed, and that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him, but Doc Holliday might have taken him.
That Lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah, maybe so. But Ringo had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
Странно. Как я там умер? Так, контрольная точка. Не, кстати. Еще одну очко. Давай вот это, наверное, поиск истины. Или быстрая перезарядка. Так, плюс 30 к скорости стрельбы, плюс 15 к скорости прицеливания. А, это, наверное, к этому. Как он называется? О, давай вот тут. А я не могу ее, да? А, это типа постепенно. Я понял. Быстрая перезарядка. Да, давай. Где?
Excuse me, sir. I have a question.
What's that, Dwight?
After old man Clanton died, why didn't his son take over the Cowboys?
Because Ike Clanton was dumber than a box of rocks and a yellow belly to boot.
Сюда, наверное. Ну, курчавый Билли, я иду за тобой.
Now, where was I?
Taking down the entire cowboy gang single-handed.
Indeed I was, Jack.
Сейчас они там успокоятся. Кто-то прячется вообще. Ё-моё.
Well, it wasn't easy, as those boys had good cover.
Воу, откуда прилетело? Вижу. Я тебя не убил. Ай, ё-моё. Во-во-во. Нифига, как это он такой вернулся?
I'm gonna shoot you. I'm impregnable. Boy, you are shit out of luck. Face me, you coward. There he is. Keep shooting. I don't mind. In for the kill. Ain't bothering me now. He has it coming. Come on, look, there's something. You overheating, Sam? Look out! Ah! Get away from that.
Carts everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else for people to hide behind. That really was one hell of a sawmill. Quite an impressive operation.
А, можно было вот эту фигню убрать. Еще один. Нажимайте К, чтобы быстрее вставить патроны. Не, давай вот эту тогда. И ничего. Интересно, это действует только когда я винтовку в руках держу или нет? Куда мне вообще надо? А, вижу.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
I'm about to get to that, Ben. Patience. I'm painting a picture here. There was this beautiful waterfall and a crystal clear stream that led to a verdant valley that was truly...
Consider your picture painted. What happened next?
Well, finally the bastards that were still alive made a last stand. Curly Bill, Johnny Ringo, and his compadres took off into the lumber yard, and I followed after.
Are you saying they ran? Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
No, sir. I never said they were running scared. They just wanted me out in the open.
Нет, ты курчавый. Блин. Зараза. я по-моему, с винтовки ему больше урона наношу, чем например, пистолетов.
Just gave me no choice but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
I knew you didn't kill Ringo, because he was found dead in a different location altogether.
To this day, his killer is still unknown.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
И что это было? Типа, не я его убил? Джонни Ринго.
That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Ничья.
That's incredible, sir. I always thought that Doc Holliday was the one that killed him.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy. But the legend ain't always true. Doc Holliday had nothing to do with the death of Johnny Ringo.
63% опять уменьшился.
I was paid a healthy bounty for Ringo and Curly Bill, and realized there was real money to be made. That's why I went after Henry Plummer.
Now, wasn't he the sheriff who augmented his income by shaking down miners and robbing gold shipments?
That's the one.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. He ran that gang of thieving outlaws called the Innocents.
So it's true that you went toe-to-toe with him?
Indeed I did, son. Indeed I did.
Великолепная одиночка.
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant. And hunting Plummer looked like a good way to get rich quick.
Почему нету лошади?
As the local vigilantes exposed him as the leader of the bandits and put a generous price on his head. Plummer rallied his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape, and that's where I thought I'd find him.
Тут бухтера, а не лошадь.
Хотя бы Эквуса.
As long as you don't light up a cigar, we're fine. Besides, George is up there on the rocks with that rifle of his.
As my late father pointed out to me more than once, God made men. But Samuel Colt made them equal.
Oh. Ох, чуть не убили. О, шапочка. Так, опять мне предлагают поменять. Не хочу менять. О, это динамит. Так, это я на выход. Идите вход в шахту. Ну. А, я не туда пришел.
Что за термин «убийство в падении»?
I knew that
Как это
dynamite
в
wasn't
оригинале
mine,
звучит?
so I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to
Как
those
я в
riches.
них попаду, в динамитные шашки?
There were thieves, killers, robbing travelers, and hijacking gold shipments.
Убийство в падении.
Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy pickings. Charlie Crow, the blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's son.
Мне бы в человека попасть, они мне предлагают еще
Ordinary citizens who lived a double life.
динамит взрывать в полете.
Stealing and thieving and murdering their neighbors. Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh and Antietam. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach.
2 патрона осталось. На винторезку.
Dangerous, desperate individuals. I was outnumbered and in way over my head, but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. They must have thought I was judged. Or had some kind of death grip. Seeing as there were barrels of gunpowder everywhere.
Watch out for the goddamn gunpowder!
One stray bullet, one stray spark, and I'd be blown to hell and gone. Did I have any second thoughts about what I was doing?
А, вот здесь.
No.
Шестизарядник на рейнджер. Сейчас посмотрим, что за рейнджер.
I thought I was some kind of hero. I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out.
Куда идти-то? Не
I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
Опять мне дробовик пытаются втюхать. Но хотя в замкнутом пространстве, мне кажется, дробаш пойдет. Правда, он был зарядник. Ты откуда? Я подорвал. Не, нафиг. Швентовку.
Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts could be as deep as hell.
Динамит в воздухе отстрелил?
Ага. Я сам в шоке. Воу-воу-воу.
A single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
Нельзя отстрелить. А жаль.
This is why I do not like heights.
Чего я не люблю высоту. Наверное, мне надо вот сюда идти.
Just do this! Let's do this! You're dead!
Quick reflexes often make up for a lack of common sense.
Whoa.
Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come. With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what he's shooting at.
You'll die for this, you hear me?
All it takes is one tiny spark, and boom.
О, да.
There he is. You can run.
Короче, тут нельзя промахиваться. Иначе... Капстец. Тихо, тихо. Я не вижу тебя. Надо выбираться нафиг отсюда.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tomb.
Ё-моё. Я ж увернулся.
Surprise! Show yourself, coward!
Как я бочки не взрываю насквозь.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube.
Я погребен заживо. Блин, как я опять умер-то?
I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane.
Whoa.
It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it. Instead, I spotted a ladder, a way into the mine from the opposite side.
Серьезно?
Рояльная голова.
It was a long way around, but that approach seemed more sensible at the time. Of course, being I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution, because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, no man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I needed to make a leap of faith, which ain't easy when you're suspended between heaven and hell.
И куда? Куда я разобьюсь? Не то нажал. Перепрыгнуть.
I was determined not to give up, however. That Sheriff Plummer seemed quite the despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water.
You can run, but you can't hide!
But first, I would have to make a choice. Take the elevator or climb the ladder.
Я по лестнице полезу.
I wanted to use the element of surprise. Plus, I figured I could use the exercise. I was warmed up already, so what the hell?
Да я удачно, значит, пришел. Куда дальше?
Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Nevada City? Well, I thought Plummer met his maker in Bannock, Montana.
Right, well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
Здесь бы, конечно, пригодился этот дробак. Походу он будет сейчас бомбами меня закидывать. Серьезно?
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was going to take some doing.
How you like that?
Где ты?
Nobody for you today. They're gonna bury you in a million pieces.
Жесткий какой. Бомбардировщик.
They're gonna need a dustpan to pick you up. So I'm going all medieval on your ass. Well, that one, didn't you? I can shoot too! I need some help here! Come on, boys! Take this cocksucker out!
Давай. Эй, что помощница пришел? Кто? Да ё-моё, вы офигели.
We'll have to do everything. He just dodged a damn bullet. Shot, son of a bitch.
Это жестко. Это очень жестко. Да ё-моё.
Brother, I'm gonna make you pay for that. That's right. They're gonna bury you in a million pieces! You ain't taking me! Gonna blow you into next week, boy! Nice shot! Bet you can't do it again! I'm going all medieval on your ass! Catch this, you son of a bitch! Kill that stupid son of a bitch! Just hand a big you up!
Ё-моё. Да всё, прямо.
But can you aim? Son of a bitch! I can shoot too! See what?
Вот засрали.
Boy with him. Just kill him! No blood money for you today!
than me. Plumber wants that asshole dead.
Ай-яй-яй, перезарядка. Тихо, тихо, тихо. Помогите.
So that's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold. And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
59 точности.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin. So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
Эпизод 4.
Hell, he killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
Быстрый или мертвый?
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no different. I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
Тихо. Прячется, конечно. Отвратительно.
I thought the Texas Rangers got Hardin.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. It was cold and a witch's tit and a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres.
Скорострел. А я застрял. Куда идти-то? А, в салон.
To the very same saloon we're sitting in today. Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me, and...
Сколько трупов?
Wait, I'm jumping the gun here. Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men. Fathers and husbands, brothers and sons, men with families who cared about them. He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs. He and his men set up camp outside of town, and I was hoping Bob was among them.
Shit, it's cold out here. Freezing my giblets off. Ain't right, we gotta stay out here keeping watch. Damn it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
They didn't ask why I was there. They knew. As most of them were wanted as well. I figured Hardin was here somewhere, but to get to him, I'd have to get past his gun hands. That was easier said than done, as most of them were as foolish and full of bravado as I was. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was carousing in town with his closest friends. Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head. Some were hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcomed presence.
Так, ну-ка, что у меня по этим? Так, сконцентрирован, более долгая комбо. У меня 2 инграмма. Давай концентрацию x2, наверное. Ой, вот эту хочу. Где собака? А, вот он. Чисто.
Stop that son bitch! Let the boys know we got another raw dog.
Это еще. Дальше что ли?
I wondered if Bob was among them. And I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better.
Так, контрольная точка, сейчас полезут. А, это как раз в этом городе я сейчас стрелялся.
Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers. Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story.
This son of a bitch is pissing me off!
I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration.
Ё-моё, не попал. Засранец какой. Но патроны кончаются. Патроны. Ай, промазал.
I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon.
Так, теперь точно в салон надо идти.
Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me.
Гранату.
Son of a bitch. You can't hide from me.
In fact, I felt a certain hostility.
Do I have to do everything?
Так, тут мертвый. Эй, ты чё поджёг там?
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
Самый быстрый стрелок Запада. Вообще супер. Сейчас я буду пейлиться. Человека за храп.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline, or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
блин.
No, wait. You didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Я даже не это... Ну, давай, давай. Да что это такое? Скорости мало. Да ё-моё. Блин, вот самый быстрый это стрелок. Я скорость не могу набрать. Давай. 45. Да что такое-то? Я не могу от второго уклониться. Да ё-моё. Привет, привет. Плотный засранец.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks. And I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Не, сейчас у меня перед сезоном такая передышка. В понедельник будет начало сезона арка. 20 скорости. Мало, мало. Уклоняйся, уклоняйся. Да что такое?
No, wait. You didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Давай 30%, 45. 60, отличная скорость. Давай, давай. Да ё-моё, ну что такое-то? Ну почти. Блин, мало. Мало скорости. Да что такое-то? Ну блин, как он меня выпадает-то? Как мне скорость набрать-то больше? Ну вот же хорошая скорость. Давай, давай, давай. Да что ты будешь делать? Он очень силен. Вообще. Давай, давай, давай. Вот негодяй.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Блин, надо еще за этим смотреть, за скоростью и за его реакцией. Да,
No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Давай, 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 давай. Блин. Ну тут вообще, я не знаю, как. Надо идеально провести это все.
Забей ты на фокус, 60% фокуса, по идее, хватит. Тебе скорость нужна.
Вот и я про то же думаю. Но у меня не хватает. Да вообще, где скорость? Давай, 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 30. 40, 50.
Он спид-хакер.
50. 62. Мало! Да что такое? Да вообще ужасный человек. Давай, давай, 12. Ну, как тебя выставить-то по-нормальному? Скорость. Мало. Да и... Да что?
No, wait! He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Вот
I
же
felt a bolt of
суперскоростной
adrenaline.
какой.
Or maybe that was fear. He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Я опять проморгал.
У него трюк. Быть босс? Отвечаю.
Да вообще он какой-то жесткий. Так, давай сначала скорость тебе подымем. 77. Да, едицкое все. Ужасный, ужасный человек. Сколько мне убивать надо? Или сколько мне надо умирать, чтобы его победить? Мне нужен спидхак. Ну давай, скорость, расти быстрее.
Наберу 80% скорости и только потом фокус иди.
No, wait. He didn't hit me then. I'm sure of it.
Давай. Просто когда я фокусируюсь, у него скорость быстрее набирается. Засранец.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline.
Да пытаюсь, он
Maybe
не
that
хочет
was fear.
поворачиваться.
Совсем уже перестал.
He was well known for his tricks, and I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
А то ишь какой бессмертный. Вот игра и карает.
Да чё погоди. Я как не уворачиваюсь, он все равно в меня попадает.
That man was faster than greased lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
И чё?
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back in a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer?
Господи.
Ben?
Потный чувак.
Thank you, darling. Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know,
Я надеюсь,
do you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Yes, I did, Ben. I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf. Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation.
Танцы с отступниками.
A bounty was put on Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains. Mountains so high they tickle the nether regions of heaven.
Давным-давно в далеких горах.
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of young Apache warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him.
А это у меня скорострел или... А, не, шестизарядник.
They saw me before I saw them.
Воу.
Аргенты там какие-то маленькие.
Это грифоны. Вернее, грифы.
And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down.
Ну, это перебежчики были, команчики.
Не кидают топоры. Не делают ладошкой по губай бу-бу-бу-бу-бу. Я-я-ай. И не бегают с топорами на лыжах.
Ой, это не те индейцы. Это те индейцы, которые эти бандиты завербовали к себе.
Это какие-то неправильные краснокожие.
It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated there. I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Так сказали же, что у них лидер краснокожий, который мстит за свое поселение.
А, ну я просто не читаю. Пытаюсь сконцентрироваться на то, что на экране происходит. Чем мне там читает?
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
У тебя 3 дырки в глазу, как ты же.
Вот как-то так и выживаем.
Просто я ждал, пока потемнение с боков экрана пройдет, и я пригенюсь. %% в реальности не так же.
Ну да.
deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
Don't tell me you went in there.
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness.
Так, не люблю узкие пещеры. По-любому сейчас сверху начнут шпиговать меня.
Ну ты жук, во всяком овне копаешься, каньоне бегаешь.
Ну так приходится.
See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the walls.
Тихо, тихо, тихо. Ой. Ой-ой. Зарядка. Еще пару сек.
У тебя пистолетик, дудочка, палочка дрожит, обратись к врачу, это ненормально.
Все. Телефонные звонки не вовремя все время бывают. О, тут что-то есть. Потрошки, потрошки. Whoa.
How big was this cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
Ай, не туда.
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Почему он на пистолеты переключает? О, у меня, кстати, левел. Ух, так. Что у нас? А, ну это типа нажимаешь кэшку и постоянная перезарядка. Быстрая. На револьвере. Ну, давай быструю перезарядку тоже.
How come you know so much about engines?
A few years back, I was married to 2 Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among the Mescalero.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the Cave of Death.
Ну, еще шапочка. Так, мне кажется, тут какая-то бойня будет. Не зря тут столько арсенала стоит.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows. And I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me. As his story unfolded in my mind.
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no meaning if the eye had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
The snakes will bite shadows of your past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
I didn't quite get what he was saying, but there was definitely snakes. And indeed, his warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me, though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk. I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle.
Это что такое было?
I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice, overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith, but no way in hell I was turning back. I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo's right. Are you making this all up as you go?
A few details may be fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me. There were dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that, little lady.
Ай-яй-яй.
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me.
Опять очки, я что-то вроде распределил. Во время концентрации. Ну, давай я то и изучу. О! И теперь есть вот такая штука. Быстрый ствол. Вот что мне нужно было. На 30%. О, какой у меня красивый ствол.
And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches around me.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Oh. Бегунка. Ай-яй-яй. Сейчас умру. Да ё-моё, сколько вас?
And in the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before.
Это что такое было? Камень куда-то улетел.
I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air.
Это что за магия?
Never did find him. And never did collect my goddamn bounty. Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand.
Шестой эпизод.
Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory, until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of right?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Все, я тут.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob two banks at the same time. Two banks on the same damn street. The story was Bob Dalton's girl was always riding him about how he had no ambition. Oh, you're nobody next to Jesse James, she'd say. Finally, the bastard took his brothers to Coffeeville just to shut her up.
Right. It's always the woman's fault.
Well, the locals recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away, half the town took up arms to defend their property.
He got us a hero. Put some holes in him!
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows They had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of U.S. deputy marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait to suck the bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals.
Это что такое было?
One of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind. He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. From above. Fortunately, a water tower was right there. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did.
Так. Выше, что ли?
It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free. Like Jim Bowie and Davy Crockett, who died defending the Alamo.
Is that Silas Greaves? Son of a bitch! I silly little son of a bitch! Did that asshole just kill Red? Over there! That's Silas Greaves. What the hell? God damn you!
Bland, bland! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His name was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened.
Опять сейчас флешбэк будет.
It was early evening, not high noon. I was late to the party and Coffeyville was already up in arms. The Daltons blew up a safe and were all set to hightail it out of there. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
Лидер любовник лох.
I'd been tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. In for the kill. And finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them, but they still had friends in Coffeeville.
На тебе в голову.
Waste your bullets. Go ahead.
Ах ты ж, зараза. Че, мне опять багать?
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose them. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths. They were cousins of the Daltons. And they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons. Which wasn't any surprise, because those two families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeeville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
Блин, 18 патронов осталось. Так, самородок написано где-то рядом. А, вот он. Тут пусто.
The Dalton boys knew I would never give up. Those Daltons weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer, but they always stood together.
Whoops.
They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The third brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
Так, куда дальше? Явно не сюда. А, нет, сюда.
It was Emmett, the youngest, and he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
I ain't afraid of you, Silas Greaves. This is where it ends for you.
He was determined to protect his brothers. And I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
жив. Хоть он мощный.
But Emmett Dalton survived the robbery in Coffeeville. He's the only Dalton who did.
They say he was shot 23 times.
Well, Dwight, who do you think put all those damn holes in him? But I have to admit, that boy had grit.
Но это, я так понял, не следующая глава, это все та же.
It took me a couple of days to track the Daltons down.
They can't get away with this!
And in that time, a whole posse of local vigilantes offered to lend a hand.
We'll track him to the ends of the earth.
They seemed as determined as me to find those outlaws. But as we headed into those swamps, it was like I had my own private army. There was no way those boys were getting away this time.
Блин. Их в деревьях вообще не вижу. А, это зеленые. Все, понял. Я хотел их расстрелять.
It was early fall, right? Beautiful time of year. At least you had the weather on your side.
Not by my recollection. It was damp and foggy as hell.
Тоже зеленые. Что-то, блин, раззвонились мне сегодня.
It was tough to stay on a true course, so we kept an eye out for landmarks.
Кстати, еще уровень. Вот эту я хотел взять. Сторону. Ага, туда.
It was autumn. The maple trees were in full color, red as blood.
Это что такое?
The rains that year were torrential, so the whole area was flooded. The vigilantes had spread out wide, and pretty soon I couldn't see anybody. Except for some bitches ahead of me wanting to do me harm. So I had to face them alone. I wondered why my compatriots didn't come running when they heard the shots.
Стрелочка, типа туда. Чтоб не заблудился.
So did you find the Daltons?
Not yet, but I did have the questionable pleasure of meeting a few of their friends.
Middle ain't that sucker! The boys had established quite a reputation by that time, so they attracted all manner of riffraff to their cause.
Порвали. Кто застрелил? Ух ты. Двоих одной пулькой. О, на скорострела, конечно, заменить. Который бросается динамитом, умер. Да где я вас не вижу? Откуда вы стреляете?
point being, I was under serious attack. And my reinforcements was nowhere to be seen.
Bury him in the swamp!
Почему пишут падение, вот мне до сих пор неизвестно. Они вроде не падали.
But luckily, a barn materialized as if right before my eyes. I scrambled up top to get a better view. Just ended up falling inside.
So, how did you get out?
The barn doors was open. About right then, I saw some suspicious characters running through the bushes. Of course, I followed them.
Это наши или нет?
But that goddamn swamp was like a goddamn maze, and pretty soon I had no goddamn idea where I was. Steve? So I just started walking, and pretty soon...
Oh.
Кто храпит?
Oh.
Steve? Steve?
Huh? Oh, no, I'm listening.
Indians surrounded me from all sides.
5 индейцев.
Indians?
They were Indians?
No. I just wanted to make sure Steve was paying attention. Now, where was I?
You were following the Daltons through a swamp?
That's right. See, Steve? Dwight's paying attention.
No, I'm listening. I was just resting my eyes.
So, where was I?
The Daltons.
Right. See, there's a reason so many outlaw gangs are made up of brothers. Being a brother is a very sacred thing. It's a bond like no other.
Почему тут столько бочек со взрывчаткой валяется на болоте?
Bounty hunters! Stop that, son bitch!
So did you ever find the damn Daltons?
Not yet. But I did find a few of their cousins. You can breed like rabbits. More Smiths or Heimhoffers or who knows what. But hell, what's more important than family? I bet Ben knows what I'm talking about.
Кого ты там убить хочешь? Успел спрятаться. Как они через цветы стреляют? Не заметил. Шкафы ходящие. Сюда. Воу-воу-воу. Кто где? Шесть. Давай на второй этаж. Воу. Я не вижу тебя. Вижу.
Hell's a coming. Cut you in two. I'm dead. Oh.
Фига он с дробаша пролет.
I knew those Dalton boys were out there somewhere, standing together against anyone who would threaten them. And that's when I saw it. A goddamn steamboat.
A steamboat in a swamp?
Yeah, Steve, but this wasn't much more than a wreck, really.
But how'd a damn steamboat end up in the swamps?
Guess it floated off during the flood of '89.
Now, was it a stern-wheeler or a side-wheeler?
What? Does that really make a difference, Steve? It was a steamboat with a goddamn army on board. It was then that a fusillade of bullets come raining down from on high, and those vigilantes who accompanied me weren't anywhere to be found. But among those men that were shooting at me, I thought I saw some familiar faces.
С детком за пулеметом я Уморил. Чуваки с динамитом.
Somewhere up there, the Daltons were waiting on me.
Винтовка все-таки лучше.
Sounds like you don't give up too easy.
That's the kind of man I am.
Против этих лучше.
I set out to do something. I do it. Surrender just ain't in my nature. Plus, I'm stubborn as hell.
One sorry son of a bitch!
пошел.
You know you can't beat me.
Right about then, much to my relief, the vigilantes finally arrived. Their leader motioned at a cabin in the middle of the top deck, pointing me directly at the Daltons. I finally had them, after months of dogged pursuit. Huh? But it turned out that they had me.
Take him out! I'm sending you to hell!
The Daltons had played me like a fiddle. Apparently, the vigilantes were on their damn payroll. They didn't just want to shoot me. They wanted to burn me alive. But finding my way out of a burning labyrinth proved to be quite a challenge.
It was a riverboat, right? I mean, it's not like it was a goddamn ocean liner.
Well, yeah, but I was in a fight.
Did you hear about that ship that's gonna launch next year? Largest one in the world.
We're talking about the Titanic. If you ask me, it's too blessed big. I don't think it's...
Anyway...
Don't be stupid, Steve. They know what they're doing. They say that the Titanic is unsinkable.
Oh, God.
But getting back to that steamboat, how'd you get off it, Mr. Greaves?
I took in a lot of smoke that day, so I admit my recollection might be a bit hazy. But somehow I managed to finally disembark. I was coughing up smoke and pretty damn pissed. I was done playing games with those boys. It was time to settle this once and for all.
Хорошая кассета.
Bob and Grat weren't about to come at me one at a time. They were in this together. Two brothers side by side, determined to take me down. Confident that this time the odds were on their side.
С двоими-то сражаться, вы чё? Вы чё, издеваетесь, что ли? издевательство надо мной. Сначала супер быстрый чувак, теперь 2.
They got it wrong.
Easy.
A sad end for those two. If they'd only known that Emmett was still alive despite his wounds. Paroled 14 years later, he moved to California and sold real estate and lived off the legend of that fateful day. And the tragic death of his 2 brothers. My own brothers died tragically as well, truth be told.
Эпизод 7.
It was 1868, and me and my older brothers were pulling a tidy profit running cattle into Juarez, Mexico. One night after my brothers retired for the evening, I found a little poker game in a cantina with a couple of cowboys. And I just couldn't lose. I even won an old Spanish coin that had to be 100 years old. Well, I was mighty pleased with myself the next morning as my brothers and I rode for Texas. But before we crossed the border, those cowboys caught up with us. It was Johnny Ringo, Roscoe Bob Bryant, and another asshole named Jim. They wanted their money back and everything else we had, including our lives, as those boys didn't want us coming for them later. Bob put that old Spanish coin in my mouth and said, "I won't have it said that I left you with nothing, boy." Well, those horses bolted, and there we hung as those bastards rode away. The branch finally snapped under the weight of the 3 of us, but being my older brothers were bigger and heavier, they were already dead. And right then I swore to myself that I would avenge them. Ringo you know about. But Bob eluded me, until I heard he was riding with the Wild Bunch.
О, как. Это было до или после вот этих всех? Что-то я потерял ход мысли.
I'd been on their trail for months, ever since they left their hideout in the Bighorn Mountains. Led by Butch Cassidy, they were a loose association of outlaws who robbed banks and trains from Colorado to Montana. Among them was the Sundance Kid, and that murderous hombre I was tracking, Roscoe Bob Bryant.
Were you a part of that giant Pinkerton posse after the Wild Bunch?
No, boy. A circus like that would have slowed me down. Besides, I wanted Bryant all to myself. I'd heard about a large shipment of gold being transported to Wilcox, Wyoming on the Overland Flyer. I figured the Wild Bunch would likely hit such a treasure, and by God, I figured right. They blew the bridge with the intention of forcing the train to stop. Well, I assumed the Wild Bunch was likely in the still intact part of the train high above. I was determined to make that sumbitch Bob pay for what he did to my brothers.
Динамит у меня есть. О, 2 инграмма. Вот у нас гренадер.
Плохо, наверное, что русской озвучки нет.
Ну да. Так, это что? Больше концентрация. Может, все-таки тут что-нибудь посмотреть? Повышенная скорость концентрации. Повышает урон концентрации. Зверолов. Дробовик улучшает. Не, это ближний бой. Вот эту давай.
My ears are still ringing from blowing up that ridge. What'd you say? I can't hear a goddamn thing.
Well, I made my way off unscathed and came upon a few members of the gang and had no choice but to dispatch them. From there, I had to negotiate an even more precarious route. But first, I would need to get my ass out of there.
Ага. Типа, что, мне прыгать?
I jumped from the frying pan into the fire as the train was clearly fixing to fall. I had found the gang, but in order to find old Bob, I needed to fight my way forward past a whole passel of desperados. Outside, inside, any way I could, I made my way towards my prey.
Well, what about the passengers?
It was mostly a freight train, as I recall. There were no passengers aboard that day.
Вау. Да, надо было все-таки выбивать. Нет, скорострел оставлю.
Show yourself, coward!
Ну давай, покажись.
You're dead.
На тебе.
As I mentioned before, I am not fond of heights. But I was too busy dodging bullets to worry about falling to my death. Odds were I was likely to die that day anyway. So I was determined to take down as many of those bastards as I could.
Сюда.
At times, it was like shooting ducks in a shooting gallery. The only difference is these damn ducks shot back.
Так. И чё? Я это не могу открыть. А как туда пробраться? А, вот лестница, вижу.
I kept hoping the law would show up and give me a hand.
You mean like that giant Pinkerton posse that I read about? Did they come riding in, guns a-blazing to help?
Опять флешбэк.
Help? From the Pinkertons? No, son. I had to fight the Wild Bunch all by my lonesome, as usual.
Who the hell is that? He's out of his mind! Take cover! Retreat! Retreat! He's killing everybody!
Ready to meet your maker.
Let's go!
Run!
Guess is those dime novels didn't portray this as it happened, did they? Only a few stragglers were left, and I had to cut them down pronto if I was going to stay on old Bob's trail. Once I silenced all those guns, I went searching for my nemesis, determined to finally have my justice. But the only survivor who welcomed me was George Flat-Nosed Curry.
Who was he?
The fastest gun in the gang. Right after Sundance, I mean. And Kid Curry, and maybe Elsie Lay. Though some folks might dispute that.
Чем мне все время самые быстрые стрелки попадаются?
On that very same day, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid decided to leave the Wild Bunch behind and decamp for South America.
На тему арка.
Какой?
They ended up living down there for many years, but I'm sure you already know all about that.
Камень, да. Ну, насколько быстро, все зависит от урона. Чем больше урона, тем быстрее сломает. Ну и смотря какой, если 150 дикий, то не так быстро сломает, если какой-нибудь 150 выращенный, то быстрее сломает за счет привязки. Ну и зависит от настройки сервера тоже.
I tried to find Bob Bryant, but it was as if he'd disappeared. Sometime later, I heard the Wild Bunch was back together. Kid Curry escaped from jail, and now he was running the whole shebang. So I took to their trail. as I was still in pursuit of my brother's killer and hoped that he was back with him.
That kid Curry's kind of crazy, ain't he? Don't let him hear you saying that.
Anyways, I tracked those boys to a camp right outside Parachute, Colorado.
Так. Ага. Ну, не знаю, либо по брошенному динамиту. Давай вот за спиной.
Being outnumbered, I didn't bother with a warning shot. I just started taking those bastards down.
That's it for you.
Лазь. Ах ты ж гадина. Один патрон.
Old Bob wasn't among them, and neither was Kid Curry. I could sense him close by, however, plotting something nasty. I just needed a clue as to their whereabouts.
Четыре патрона.
And I found one. A map with their bold plan clearly marked. This time they were fixing to blow up a train trestle. Property of the Union Pacific. The plan clearly indicated how they were fixing to undermine several of the weakest wooden supports.
Надеюсь, не на время.
Kid Curry was considered the wildest of the wild bunch. It was said that he fathered 85 bastard children, though some say it was only 5. Kid Curry had bragged to a whore how he was gonna rob a train heading to the U.S. Mint in Denver. And that whore, Fat Sally, she told me. The bridge was rigged with dynamite, so I decided I'd best be careful confronting those bastards. A moment later, I saw a ladder that somehow had escaped my attention.
Don't you blow us up now. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
Реальные бандиты фигурируют в игре. Интересно, насколько близко от истории.
Ну вот не знаю.
The Wild Bunch did not take kindly to my presence and attempted to blow my head off. It appeared the kid had found a number of new recruits to bolster their ranks. Guess there's always desperate men willing to trade their lives for stolen treasure.
Murderer! What happened next?
Well, having removed the first bundle of dynamite, I decided I might as well remove the other one. Once that was done, I figured I'd find my way from there.
Как-то все меняется.
So what happened then?
Had to remove more of that damn dynamite.
It must have been terrifying trying to make your way across.
I was sweating it a bit, but then I noticed a footbridge tied up on high, so I shot the rope. Of course, I had to tread carefully. Otherwise, I could, well, die.
So that was all the dynamite?
Funny you should mention that, darling. As actually, there was a fourth charge impeding my progress. Once I removed it, my path was pretty clear. So I proceeded onward and realized that that way just wasn't going to work. I needed an alternate path forward. Luckily, I found a cave, and as I made my way back to the bridge, I saw something that concerned me. It was a long, burning fuse, and it was moving fast as hell. I had to catch it. I hope you understand how badly my adventure might have ended had I not been as careful as hell. The burning fuse was so damn quick, I had to run like the wind. I almost had it, but no. Thought I was gonna have a coronary when I lost sight of those sparks. My heart was pounding like a sledgehammer. I knew that failure meant boom. Then, finally, at the last moment.
Давай. Вот собирай ты этот динамит.
Of course, I was successful, or clearly I wouldn't be talking to you folks here today. Naturally, I removed the last dynamite charge.
Well, it was a touching reunion.
But by this time, I was thoroughly exhausted and dragging my ass, as I was not a young man anymore.
Kill that Azuki! Make him bleed! Send him to perdition!
Finally, I found those boys. Or more precisely, they found me.
He's crazier than Kid Curry, ain't he? Nuttier than a damn fruit cake! Just kill him, for Christ's sake!
Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Kid Curry opened up on me with a goddamn Gatling gun. It was hidden in this tunnel and pretty well shielded.
Whoa.
Guess you had enough, huh?
Так.
Luckily, I had located some dynamite. I still, however, had my work cut out for me.
Черт, я сам себя взорвал.
Yourself, you coward!
Да, все-таки динамитом придется.
Eventually, I brought that tunnel down. And that's when I met Kid Curry himself. He had decided to stop pussyfooting around and deal with me personally.
Опять стрельба. Маленький маленькая скорость. Скорость опять маленькая. Зараза.
As he was, I was just a bit faster. And as he lay wounded, I demanded to know the whereabouts of Roscoe Bob Bryant. He shouted at me. Is that what this is about? Bob went with Butch and Sundance to South America. You ain't never finding him.
Hey.
Those were his last words.
Завтыкал. Надо было уклониться. Но вроде уклонился. 68.
So, Bob Bryant got away?
I knew I'd never find him in South America.
What about the other killer?
Yeah, you kinda glossed over that one.
Well, I found Jim not long after my showdown with Ringo. At the time, he was riding with the James Younger gang. Did I neglect to mention that?
Эпизод 8.
Jesse James? The greatest outlaw who ever lived?
Jesse and his kin rode with Quantrill when he raided Lawrence, Kansas, and killed near 200 people, boy.
Nothing great about that.
And from there, him and his brother went on to rob banks and trains from Kansas to Missouri.
Which is why there was such a rich bounty on their heads. 40 grand for both of them, dead or alive. That's one hell of a payday.
Джесси Джейм теперь. Так, ну давай посмотрим на тебя.
I confronted them as they were robbing a train. Bullets were flying at me from every which way. But I knew I'd have to fight my way forward if I was gonna find this Jim.
Kill that! Rule the day. Yeah, you know you can't beat me.
I'm dead. So death is coming for you.
You know who we are? Huh? I think he's scared.
Now wait a second. Now, how'd they stop this train in the first place?
Well, the James boys were experts at this.
Поле действия. О, как.
They hopped a freight train having heard there was a big payroll in the express safe. So, I hopped the same train. The James Younger gang was decimated after that little fiasco they had in Northfield, Minnesota. So Jesse needed more men and took on the killer I was after, along with a host of others. I was hoping to find my man and put a bullet in his head. Climbing around that train, I must have swallowed 100 damn bugs before I reached
James
that...
Younger gang pulled the first train robbery west of the Mississippi.
Sounds like you hold them in high regard.
Everyone knows they were the most famous outlaw gang ever.
And you took them all on by your lonesome. Again. I'm finding this all a little hard to swallow, friend.
Well, maybe you need to wash it down with some whiskey. By the way, did I mention that that train was flying down those tracks like a bat out of hell?
Did that asshole just kill Red?
Anyway, excuse me, Ben. Where would I find the gentleman's facilities? Suddenly I have an urgent need to drain my one-eyed snake. Well, I've had more than a few drinks, and I've been sitting here for quite a spell.
Right through there. Let me show you.
Че опять покажешь?
I never heard so much malarkey in my life.
You think he's bullshitting us?
You don't think he's Silas Greaves?
I think he's just some old drunk looking for some free liquor.
Че, типа далеко отошел от сюжета или что? Почему так все серое?
I don't know, Jack. I think I believe him. You don't think he met Jesse James?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That story makes no sense at all.
Jack.
I mean, you gotta be 2 bricks short of a load to believe that cock and bull story.
I don't agree.
Jack, lay off the
But
bar.
you seriously think that tired old man went toe-to-toe with Jesse James?
Well, that's better. Did I mention that this Jim was married to the infamous Belle Starr? Of course, I didn't learn that until later. Anyway, I made my way forward the best I could. Around the sides, over the roof. At some point, some sumbitch saw me and shouted out, "It's the damn Pinkertons!"
It's the damn Pinkertons!
Now, I never worked for that lyman cocksucker, but I guess they assumed I was one of his assassins. Those evil bastards firebombed Jesse's mother's house and killed his stepbrother. So it's no wonder each and every asshole on that train wanted me dead.
Everybody's always mistaking you for somebody else, aren't they? Why is that, I wonder?
Don't rightly know, Jack. I'm just telling you how I remember it.
Вот забили. В сторону нагнулся.
Beat that son of a bitch! Kill that pissant! You don't want to mess with us!
It was a rickety ride and quite precarious.
Что происходит?
I bet you are.
Так, и еще. Понял. Опять не в ту сторону. Черт побери.
I came across a flat car piled high with logs and had to come up with a creative way to make my way forward.
You better
I wondered if I was ever gonna find the front of that train, or the bastard I was after. Jesse hired a damn army after Northfield. Guess he didn't want to be outgunned like that ever again. Right about then, I was attacked by some asshole on a Gatling gun.
Yeah, seems like you run into a lot of them.
Asshole?
Gatling guns.
Yes, I did. Now, I don't remember how I took it out. It was either a bullet or dynamite.
Where would you find dynamite?
Does it really matter, Jack? You're messing with the flow of the story. It was definitely safer on the inside of the train.
Я вышел с поезда раньше времени. Нифига себе газный какой.
I was looking for Jim and shooting any son of a bitch stupid enough to get in my way. And that included Jesse James himself.
This asshole don't know who he's up against.
There sure were a lot of men determined to die that day. It was then that Jesse detached the express car from the rest of the damn train.
Блин, я думал, уже катсцена началась.
I could see Jesse waiting for me, fixing to kill me so he could get away with all that money.
You had a showdown with Jesse James?
Of course he didn't. Everybody knows that Jesse was killed by Bob Ford.
Yeah. Jesse went out like John Wesley Hardin. Coward shot him in the back of the head.
Guess it doesn't matter how far you run, does it, Ben? Your past always catches up with you. Yeah, I didn't kill Jesse James. Just wounded him bad enough to convince him to hang up his guns.
What about that Jim fella? What happened to him?
I figure he was up front with a gun to the engineer's head. That bastard slipped away again. I'll tell you how I got him. But first I need to wet my whistle.
Так, что ж, я думаю, давайте на этом закончим на сегодня. Игрушка прикольная, мне понравилась. Может быть, на следующей недельке еще сделаю стримчик по ней. Вот, а завтра там желающих особо не было. Тогда завтра будет спор. Выживаем клеткой в космосе. Вот, а на сегодня все. Всем спасибо. И всем
Спасибо
пока.
за стрим. Удачи.